Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Doctor Who. Last time on Doctor Who, we had Praxeus, where the gang was split up, running different errands for the Doctor, trying to solve different mysteries, but it turns out they were all related to each other. There was a new disease on Earth called Praxeus that actually fed on, it was attracted to plastics. And the Doctor figured out that the reason that it was getting into humans and animals was because, well, we have a lot of microplastics in our bodies and such. But in the end, they did figure out a cure and saved the day. Unfortunately, not saving the people that brought Praxeus, but they were kind of piss poor scientists anyway, so screw them. And yeah. That was basically that. Overall, it was a very good, interesting episode. Yes, it did have a environmental message. Perhaps you could call it a PSA, but it was a good PSA. It wasn't a slap you across the face sort of PSA. It was just a nice, good, like, hey, let's just talk about something, all right? So, yeah, it was very interesting and very good. And we should just go ahead and move on to the next one. What are we at? Episode 7? Goodness gracious, we're almost done with this season. These 10-episode seasons are getting really strange. And I know Season 13, Series 13 is going to have only 8 episodes. So that's going to be crazy too. But yeah, we are just churning right through these, aren't we? So with that said, let's just go ahead and get right into this episode of Doctor Who. Here we go.
Can you hear me?
Oh, cold open. Aleppo, Syria, 1380. BC or AD? Or BCE or CE, as my history professors would have said. Look. Whoa, no.
I tried to warn you.
What is it? Oh, dang it. It looked like a Slovene hand. Alright, come on, let me see it. Okay, that's not a Slovene. Oh, no. Oh, dear. Well, hey. Cold open. Glad for that, at least.
Right day. It's the right day. In the right year. The day you asked, in the year that you asked, at the time that you asked. You
Is it?
are home. Hi. Everyone meet back here tomorrow lunchtime?
Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Me? Oh,
Just traveled to that point?
oh. Okay. Not the exact right time. 77 minutes out. Late. What?
So,
Maybe I'll just nip straight to tomorrow lunchtime.
you have a time machine. You might as well. That's not good.
What was that?
Uh-oh. What the hell? Get out of the TARDIS!
1380. Welcome to Syria. Now.
It's just you.
They're not here, are they?
Aw, you got no one to talk to.
Maristan.
Ah! Oh, I don't like it. Oh. What is it? Whoop. What's happening?
This is what he did to me. Graham.
The past few days. I've seen him. At night, outside the flat, across the hall. In my room. The guy that's in your dreams is in your room? And then you'd laugh. Look at me.
No, this is...
I'm not laughing.
No, Ryan's going into investigation mode.
Mate, I've seen some weird things while I've been away.
Yeah.
Things you wouldn't believe were possible.
He's here to help now. What is happening? It's the guy that was in the TARDIS. Okay, it's time to call the doctor. So this dude is spying on Yaz and Ryan's friend. Oh no. Oh, I don't like this. Why? What kind of wet willy is that?
Do you have any idea where those planets might be?
You get me an A to Z of the universe, and I'll be able to stick my finger straight at... Oh, no, I've got no idea.
Right then,
Yeah,
better idea. TARDIS telepathic circuits.
that's true.
Doc.
Stop fidgeting, will ya?
Doc. Ow, I don't like it. You sure it's safe?
You trust me, don't you?
Have I got to answer that?
Hey,
Those two objects.
this must be a monitor platform. Observing events in this part of the solar system.
Are those planets colliding?
Planets? Looks like they're falling into each other.
Yeah.
Colliding.
Have you seen this? This whole section is covered in fingers.
Oh no. This is Fingerman's hideout.
Where's Tahira?
Don't go wandering off on your own.
What's with all the fire? The place is burning.
Yeah, I can see that.
Place. Earth.
What? Why?
And you weren't here. I thought we were mates.
Ah! Oh no! Dregs! Oh, I don't want to see this. God.
Why am I hooked up to this?
Oh. Fuck this bald guy.
I'm sorry to tell you, Mr. O'Brien.
Mr. O'Brien.
Hans has returned.
Oh no. They don't know each other.
No, that can't be. How long have I got?
A couple of hours.
Jeez! That's
Why?
really friggin' aggressive.
100 billion combinations every millisecond.
Would you notice that no one's around you?
For that. And I'm talking to myself again, which means the others aren't here.
Good job,
Hello, Doctor.
idiot.
My original is Zelin.
No. Zelin's a mythical name. Way beyond this universe. Zelin was thought to be a god.
I blush. For me, this dimension is a beautiful board for a game. The toy maker would approve. And I do like
Toy
this
maker?
form.
Don't you bring
So
him up.
Small. I could shape them, regrow, mold my form.
Molded by
Provoke
them.
fear from humans. We share the same obsession.
We're not the same.
No. You are so much lesser.
Do you...
You know the best part of humanity? The cruelty of their own minds directed towards themselves. I presume that's your doing, Doctor. Always interfering. I've watched you blunder into this.
Blundering, top of my CV.
No.
Alongside plays well with others and excellent tap dancer in a crisis.
Almost clever. But not quite clever enough.
She's taken down gods before.
I needed someone from this realm to break a lock from this realm. Only one would do. You.
Ah, crap.
Let me make you.
Uh-oh.
Two creatures from another realm descended into a universe
Whoa.
where they were worshipped as gods.
Oh, this is cool.
They saw two planets, realized what these creatures had done to them. They unified and fought back against their so-called gods. They set their own planets into a collision course. And at the heart of the collision, they laid a prison.
So they beat
They
you.
trapped one creature.
I wasn't torturing her with nightmares. I was feeding her what she needed to stay sane. The pain of others.
Okay then. But you've
But
already
even
lost
gods
before.
need a helping hand.
Whoop.
It's buried deep in all our memories.
Whoa-oh. The master.
Our identity. Built on the lie of the timeless child.
The timeless child. Oh. Okay. Didn't really get anything from that. Oh. Good catch. Ew. Ugh. I don't like these things.
Alright, mate, try not to freak out, yeah? But you're on a floating space platform in a gravitational pull between two colliding planets, halfway across the universe because of the guy who was stealing your nightmares through creepy, detachable fingers.
Frank?
No.
No.
Take me through that again.
No. Yeah.
I've told you there are no bogeymen. Nothing to be worried about.
Huh.
Night-night.
Did the British say bogeyman? I've always heard it as the boogeyman. Ugh. Now that's a boogeyman.
That's not true.
I hate this guy and his chin. His chin and his fingers.
Welcome to Aleppo. Very beautiful city.
How are you here?
I'm
I'm
a
the
little bit
doctor.
smarter than you thought I was. You're wrong about humans. They're not pathetic. They're magnificent. They live with their fears, doubts, guilts. They face them down every day and they prevail.
Yeah.
That's not weakness. That's strength. That's what humanity is. Isn't that right, Tahira?
Yes, Doctor.
Why don't you show them how strong you are?
Oh!
Might.
Are you confronting us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually.
You
Oh.
immortals. Just returning your lost property. Thanks for lending a helping hand.
Really?
I couldn't resist.
The.
What's your worst nightmare?
I'll just throw them into their own.
Nightmare's real. Now you can live with them for all eternity.
Yes. God's back in their box. We need to get this back to the monitor platform. And all those people out the TARDIS jacuzzi. Come on.
So. Alright. Just put both of them in the prison. That's probably the best idea.
You could have told me the truth about it all.
Nah.
Believe me?
Nope.
You would have had to have seen
Well,
it.
just saying. Do you know when you'll be back?
Not sure.
Never.
Well, don't make it too long.
If the TARDIS would ever get the date right.
Promise, mate.
It's good there. Leave me alone. Can't do that.
Why not?
People are worried about you.
No, they're not.
Your sister is. That's why she called us. She's worried you've left and are going to do something stupid. Terrible thing about being older is you have all this experience and nobody ever wants to hear it. What if this moment where you want to run away from everyone, including yourself, is just that? A moment. Would hard cash make a difference? I'll make you a deal. Look me up in 3 years. If I'm wrong, I'll give you 50 quid. I mean, I'd say more, but the pay's rubbish.
Tuh.
Get another job then. Can't. Love it too much. But if I'm right, you owe me 50p. Come on. Those are good odds.
Nah. Yeah. If things get better. And she's a cop now.
You won't remember me. My name's Yasmin.
Khan. I flippin' do remember you.
I've got something for you.
Aww. Oh, that's gotta be great.
About the cancer coming back, and I didn't know who to say it to, so I thought I'd say it to you. You know, seeing as you're a doctor. You know, 'cause once, well, they made me realise that the fear is still there. Yeah.
I should say a reassuring thing now, shouldn't I?
Nah.
Yeah, probably.
It'd be nice.
I'm still quite socially awkward. So I'm just going to subtly walk towards the console and look at something. And then, in a minute, I'll think of something that I should have said that might have been helpful.
Nah.
Okay. Well,
Thanks.
Going from one place to the next, ignoring home. We're getting older, but without them. Missing out bits of their lives.
When we're done, the doctor can drop you off at whatever point you want, though.
Yeah, but we'll have changed. They wouldn't have.
Yeah.
I was thinking Frankenstein.
What?
Did I interrupt? Am I interrupting?
No?
Cool. You might need to change clothes.
Frankenstein. You can't just say that.
On we go.
You guys may need to think about heading out. Okay. Alrighty. That was an interesting episode. A very interesting episode. So, I would be curious if perhaps we are, considering this is their second season, I'd be curious if we're building up to some companion departures this season. Maybe. We'll have to see. With any luck, they won't die or have some horrible thing happen to them, you know? But we'll have to see. Hopefully they can go and live a normal life. None of this dying. None of this memory loss. I don't even want what happened to Bill. I want a Martha, alright? But we'll get to that. We'll get to that when we get to that. Before I move on, I'm gonna go to I'm gonna go to the cast list on this episode because I want to see who played the old man. What was it, Zelen? Yeah, Zelen. Okay, where? Yes. Alrighty, let me. Alright. Tesla, Fugitive, Praxeus. Okay, can you hear me? Okay, why does this guy look so familiar? You know what? I can already see Kevin Lannister in Game of Thrones. That's why he looks familiar. Oh, that means... Yeah, he was also on Torchwood. Okay, that's why I recognize him. Okay. Alright, cool. Just had to look that up. So, that's why he looks so familiar, because I've seen him before on... I mean, despite playing minor characters on Game of Thrones and even in Torchwood, like, I do recognize him, so... he just looks a bit different because he doesn't have hair in this, so... Alrighty. Well, okay. Not historical, as I thought we were going to have. But still, a good episode overall, you know? And interesting, like, you know... I wouldn't exactly say full, like, character development or anything, but a good starting point for... a good starting point for a new sort of story arc with our companions, you know? I think that's pretty interesting, you know? Just with the ending with Yaz and Graham and Ryan, you know? Like, they could be leaving at some point. We don't know. So, yeah. Let's see. We go through the notes. We've got... Aleppo and 1380, so not a historical like I thought we were going with. An interesting way of sort of doing this. It's kind of like last episode where it's like, okay, you know, there's sort of different plot lines, but they all sort of converge on each other. It's kind of the same thing here, although it's just one plot line from everyone's different point of view. So, you know, how they're all roped into this story, you know, Graham gets visions, Ryan and Yaz end up seeing Zelen, and the Doctor witnesses the nightmares come to life in Aleppo. So, that's all really interesting. I like that. I also like how it's difficult for the Doctor to be on her own. I thought that was kind of funny. Because I was thinking, you know, oh, well, this whole thing of, oh, well, yeah, I'll drop you guys off and see you guys, you know, at lunchtime. It's like, you know, it's, it's very much like with the 11th Doctor, or even the 12th Doctor in Clara, where it's like, it's like, oh, well, I'll see you same time next week. And you can just think like, okay, well, the Doctor is in a time machine. They could just, go to that meeting point, Why not just skip straight ahead, But that also does open up the possibility for other side adventures, But it almost feels like the 13th Doctor doesn't do too many side missions, because she's not used to not having the gang there, Oh, excuse me. So I just thought that was kind of funny. She's immediately trying to, impress them, say things, and then be like, okay, you guys go that way. Dang it, they're not here. I have to do this on my own, So that was interesting. We did get some home life in this one, which was good. Graham having some poker with his mates, and Ryan going over to his mate and checking in on him and stuff, and Yaz with her sister. So that was all interesting. They do also say that, Yaz was late to, I guess, dinner with her family, and because of that, as because of the TARDIS, because that's the thing, I feel like we as viewers have been trained since series 1 that the TARDIS will never go to the correct place when you want it to, and that's the thing, you would, I guess, some of it you can chalk up to, well, the TARDIS, will go where she needs the Doctor to go, basically. But 77 minutes late is sort of an arbitrary sort of thing. But maybe the TARDIS knew that Yaz had to be late, basically. So that was all interesting. Let's see. We got the Stalker, which was Zelen, which was interesting. The whole thing of, like, removing the fingers and then they go into the ear and extract nightmares, like, I don't need that. That's just terrifying and gross, So, I did not need that at all. But yeah, so I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting concept. So, and with the reveal that okay, Zelen and the other one, okay, it must be Rakia. Is it? I don't know. Like, I'm looking at them, I was like, I can't. I guess the other, they never really said her name. It must be Rakia or Rakia. I don't know, because obviously it's not Grace or Sonia or Tahira. No. Okay, it must be Rakia. So, sorry if I'm getting the names right, but the other god. The reveal that the two of them are basically these deities is very interesting, and it definitely explains how he was able to just appear in the TARDIS, Like, if this is some sort of extra-dimensional god, it would make sense. Now, because that's the thing is, something's wrong when something tries to get into... when something is able to get into the TARDIS, because nothing should be able to get into the TARDIS. The TARDIS is, that incredible that nothing should be able to get in. So when this dude just pops in and it's like, okay, something's up with this dude, and then they reveal, oh, he's a god. That must be why. So that's all pretty interesting. Let's see. I'm going to try to shift through some of these. I mean, the whole backstory about Zelen and Rakia was very interesting. Just like, here are these two beings that were basically gods in this universe. And they, they basically like pitted two planets against each other until eventually they rose up. Oh, see, that's the interesting thing. When they say it's like, oh, well, the people got wise and they locked one of them away while the other fled. It's like, well, then you two suck for gods. Like, what sort of gods are you that you lost? Like, like, I thought that was kind of interesting that it's like, yeah, we lost, basically. And now we're challenging the Doctor, who is smarter than both of those planets combined, you know? And that's the thing, like, I understand the whole thing of, like, okay, well, we need the Doctor, which they're already admitting that they need the Doctor in order to free them, you know? Because it's this technology of these two planets that defeated them, but it was so good that they couldn't overcome the technology and free Rakia. They needed the Doctor. So what makes them think that the Doctor is no threat to them, you know? So that was all kind of interesting, and especially because, you know, like, look, we've been watching the show for a long time. Whether you've been watching modern Doctor Who or, you know, for me, I've been watching classic Doctor Who as well. And you kind of sit here and it's like, well, wait a second. The Doctor has faced gods before. The Doctor has faced gods and demons. They say that one time in The Family of Blood. It's like, why this Doctor who had faced gods and demons, why he ran away from us. He was being kind, you know? Which is such a great line from that. But yeah, that whole thing. And then it's like, well, then wait a minute. Why do you think, if you know this much about the Doctor, why do you think you can beat her, you know? And sure enough, like, if you can't overcome this technology, but the Doctor can, that doesn't put you in good, like, that doesn't make you, like, good to go on defeating her, you know? So, and even, you know, when it's like, oh, they lock her away, she just overcomes it anyway, you know? She's like, oh, did you really think that would hold me? It's like she just wakes up of her own accord. She's just that good, you know? Like, whatever this, like, psychic finger thing is, it's not enough on her, you know? So, yeah. It's pretty interesting, like, this whole thing of, you know, oh, these gods and stuff. I like also, correct me if I'm wrong, they referenced the Celestial Toymaker. Was that what that was? It's like, oh, the Toymaker would be proud. Like, let me see if I can go back to that point and hear that again.
We're not the same. No. You are so much, Esma. You know the best part of humanity.
I guess the reason why he's the reason why he's saying, like, oh, Doctor, you're so much lesser, is because he has a god complex. But the Doctor doesn't have that. She's a doctor, not a god. She doesn't go around claiming to be a god. She's the Doctor.
The Guardians have their power struggles. For me, this dimension is a beautiful board for a game. The Toymaker would approve. And I do like this form.
Okay. The way he says that, this universe is an incredible board for a game. The Toymaker would approve. That has to be a reference to the Celestial Toymaker, right? Right? It has to be. What else could that be a reference to? Which I can't believe, because I don't think the Toymaker ever comes back in classic Doctor Who. Well, I don't know if you want to correct me on that in case of spoilers. Maybe he comes back in, like, a comic or something. But to reference something like the Celestial Toymaker is which is not a good episode, you know? That was not a good episode, so to reference that from the first Doctor's era, goodness. Oh, man, yeah. Oh, now I'm getting flashbacks to that, of the Doctor being invisible and Steven and Dodo having to deal with clowns. Oh, man. Man, it's crazy to think about in context of the 13th Doctor, you know? That's like thinking about original Star Trek in context of, well, modern Star Trek. It's the exact same thing. Almost the same amount of time, too. So I do honestly like that they reference the Celestial Toymaker. If that is, in fact, it has to be, you know? So that whole thing was interesting, and the whole thing about them being gods was also interesting. And honestly, yeah, they're just kind of, for gods, they're kind of doing what you would expect from bored deities. They try to play games, It is very much in the vein of the Celestial Toymaker, So I like that, But maybe this is certainly better than the Celestial Toymaker episode. So yeah, I also like how they say why they're fascinated with humanity. Because that's the thing, the fascination with humanity is kind of funny in Doctor Who because, of this entire giant universe, the Doctor almost always comes back to Earth, And it's like, okay, what about the Earth is so special that this Time Lord keeps coming back here, But it's all just sort of really interesting when you talk about it. And I like how they say they're obsessed with humanity too, but because of, what they view as being pathetic, It's like, oh, they come with built-in fear. They doubt themselves. And that's very interesting to hear about and think about. It's an interesting point to make about humanity, and it's not entirely wrong. I mean, maybe not like, oh, well, we're so pathetic because of that, but honestly, yeah, we do have a lot of fears, Humanity does have a lot of fears. The fear of death, mainly, is a huge driver for humanity, but also just other sorts of fears that, constantly run through our minds, which you see an example of at the end with Yaz and her fears, and that caused her to run, And so for these two gods, they want to exploit that. They want to take the nightmares and feed on them, But I like at the end how the Doctor says, look, the human race is magnificent because they live in spite of these fears, because they take their fears and they conquer them every day and they prevail. That is very interesting, and it shows, okay, that is why the Doctor loves the human race so much, It honestly, it kind of reminds me, it's so interesting when they say things like that, where it kind of shows like, oh, this is why humanity is special. Now, granted, obviously this is because this was made, obviously, by humans. Right now, we're not really sure of what other species could be out there in the universe or what they're like. Are they like humanity? But, so obviously, because this show is made by humans, they want to they want to show off why humanity is so great. But still, it's just very interesting. It's like when, the first thing that pops in my mind is there's a line in Torchwood where Captain Jack says, the human race is the only race in the universe that goes camping. Celebrate your uniqueness, And it's just a funny sort of dumb little throwaway line, but I like stuff like that, where it's like, this is what makes humanity special, at least in, the Doctor Who universe, So that stuff and why the Doctor becomes so obsessed with humanity is all just very interesting, So I like that. So yeah, that was all really, really interesting. And then the whole thing of the two gods is interesting. Like, this kind of seems like a very big threat to just sort of throw in the middle of the season. Like, here are gods, and how do we beat them, But they were very interesting. I like that. And I like using our fears against them, and then tricking them and throwing them into their own fears. So that was really, really good. And then eventually, trapping both of them within their prison, because once they're both trapped within that prison, then that's just it. Because only the Doctor could really let anyone go from that prison. So unless the Master releases them, but I don't think he would do that, because not because they are smarter or more powerful than him, but they think they are. At least that they might think that they are more powerful than him. So if he released them, it would only be to kill them, basically, you know? It would be something like that because he has his own complex going on, you know? So, yeah. And then at the end, everything with the companions was very interesting, you know, showing, like, you know, how long do we stay with the Doctor, you know? Oh, dog got up. What you doing, boy? You go relax, boy. But yeah, the whole thing of, you know, how long do we stay with the Doctor? You're kind of bringing up stuff that, you know, Amy and Rory, you know, had to deal with, that they're aging sort of at a different rate than their friends and family, you know? So it is sort of tricky. Now, and that's the thing, is before I thought we were going on the sort of Clara Bill approach of, hey, you know, we'll come pick you up for an adventure, then we drop you back off, and you go continue living your life. But it is more of the Amy and Rory situation of, hey, I'm going to pick you up, we're going to go off for months on end, and then I'm going to bring you back relatively close to where you were, or where you should be, you know? And that is creating some issues, like, okay, when do we stop, you know? When do we stop traveling with the Doctor? And I'm just hoping, I am hoping that they can just go and have a nice happy ending. You know, now granted, yes, Bill did have a happy ending, and you can argue Clara had a happy ending per se, but I don't want deaths. I don't want, like, okay, the other thing about Bill, though, is yes, at the very end she had a good ending. She had to go through some traumatic crap, though, with the Cybermen. So I want a Martha ending, where they're like, okay, that was it, we're done, thank you, hey, you know, come visit every so often, maybe we could go on an adventure or so, but we're done, you know, for the most part, we are done as regulars, basically. Like, I want something like that, you know, and here's hoping that we get that, especially because I don't want to watch any of them die, especially Graham, so hopefully, you know, we'll just be able to drop them off and then go. You know, that's what I want. That is what I want, and I hope we can get that with them for their departure, for their inevitable departures. So, yeah. I also like not only them talking about that stuff, but the stuff with Yaz was very interesting, you know. She was in a rough patch, and then I did like the cop there being like, hey, look me up in 3 years and let's do a wager. If things have gotten better, then you owe me 50p. What is p? Is it like 50 cents? I assume it's like 50 cents. So, is it pence, technically? I think I've heard that. Not Mike Pence. I mean, like, just, I think I've heard that as a, it's 50 pence. I don't know. I know quid, these freaking British terms. Quid is like another word for a pound, right? Like a pound and a quid are the same thing. It's just whichever you decide to say, you know? Like how you could say, well, I've got $10 or I've got $10. I would assume it's sort of like that. I don't know. I'm not well versed in British currency, I guess. So I don't even know how the euro works, but I think that's something else. I think that's more European, technically, which the British wouldn't have due to the whole Brexit thing, right? Right? I don't know. Also, do you another question for the comments, do you guys say bogeyman? I've always heard it as boogeyman, but do you guys say bogeyman? This is the only time where I'm going to be like, hey, if that's how you say it, then that's how you say it. You know, I'm not going to make a big deal of, oh, you should say it like we say it, you know? I could say that and piss you guys off, but we'll sort of skip that this time. The only other thing was Graham, with the whole thing, you know, he's worried that the cancer will come back. And it's interesting, you know, he just sort of needed to talk to someone about that, so he chose the Doctor, which is interesting. And it is also interesting, you know, the Doctor being sort of socially awkward is like, I should say something encouraging, shouldn't I? But yeah, it's interesting, you know, because I can't think of anything specific for like, oh, well, I decided to tell the Doctor. The only thing I could think is maybe when Amy told the doctor she was pregnant, and then that whole situation started up. But she didn't tell Rory, which was interesting. And it was mainly just because she was worried, you know, what if the baby has a time head? So she only felt comfortable telling the doctor, you know? But it is one of those things when you sort of confide in the doctor, I guess, you almost shouldn't expect anything to come from that. Like, you can confide in the doctor, but anything in the way of advice or encouragement or help, that might not necessarily be in store for you. Just sort of depends. It depends on the doctor, I guess. But I did like that moment of confiding in the doctor. I thought that was really good. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Another good episode, and I am curious to see where we're going next time. We've only got 3 episodes left this season. 4 overall, because we do have the special that we will be watching just after Series 12. But yeah, 4 more episodes to go, 3 more of this season. So, yeah, that's pretty much that. With all that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. If you want to watch more of my Doctor Who reactions, there is a playlist on screen that you can click on. I'm not sure where it is around me. It might be down here. There's a subscribe button and a Patreon button if you want to go check those out. There's also a link to another video you could watch if you want to see more of this handsome face in front of you. But yeah, that's basically that. See you guys later.